Today's science lesson is going to be about water. Water, water, but where? Where do we find water in the natural world? Anybody? Rain, right? That's one place we find water in the natural world. Where's another place? The lake, yeah, there's a lot of water in the lake, right? Does some water move around? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So what are some examples of moving water? A river, right? That's something that moves around. What's another one? Streams, right? Streams, water in streams moves. There's one we already said, right? The rain, that's definitely moving water. Some water seems to stay in the same place. Yeah, the lake, that's a place we already talked about where water stays in the same place. Ponds, water kind of just stays in the same place in most ponds. The ocean, that water stays in the same place. It moves around a bunch. We have waves and things, but the ocean doesn't. The whole ocean doesn't move. What about a puddle? Puddles kind of stay in the same place, right? But where do they come from? The rain, right? That's where puddles come from, most of them anyways. Does a puddle move? No, they don't. They don't usually move, do they? So if puddles don't move, and if there's a puddle somewhere today, is that puddle still going to be there forever? No, it doesn't, right? So where does the water that's in that puddle go? It dries up, right? It goes away. So if the puddle dries up, will it ever fill up again? Yeah, it'll happen. When will that happen? When it rains, right? So a cycle is a sequence of events that repeats itself. Okay? So the rain fills the puddle with water. The water dries up. And then when it rains again, the puddle fills up again. Does this kind of sound like it could be part of a cycle? It is. This is part of what we call the water cycle. The water cycle is a cycle of processes by which water circulates between the Earth's oceans, the atmosphere, and the land. The water cycle has four main processes. Okay? The first one that happens is called evaporation. That's when we were talking about the puddle drying up. So the water is acted upon by a heat source. And what's our heat source here on the Earth usually for that? It's the sun. The sun heats up the water, and the water turns into water vapor. Then water vapor goes up into the atmosphere, and it condenses in our second process, condensation. So water cools in the atmosphere, and it forms our clouds. Then, once the clouds have enough water in them, we get precipitation. That's when the clouds have absorbed enough condensation and the water falls back to Earth as rain or snow. Then comes our fourth process, collection. That's when the water collects in the lakes and rivers and streams and ocean and other bodies of water that we were talking about before. So I want to show you guys this animation that's going to kind of give you a visual of how all these processes happen together. And so we see here the sun's coming up. So there's our heat source, right? And the sun is going to heat up the water, and we're going to start to get evaporation. See our evaporation? And then we're going to get condensation. See our clouds starting to form from the condensation? And once we have enough condensation, it's going to take just a second here. All that water is going to build up in those clouds. And then we're going to get our precipitation, right? It's rain. It's going to fall down to the ground. And once we have enough of the precipitation, you're going to see our water here. It's soaking into the ground, and it's moving back. It's going into this stream. It's going into the ocean over here, and we have collection. So this animation just gives you a visual idea of how this water cycle actually works. And all this stuff is happening pretty much all the time because it's a cycle. It just keeps going. It's real important that we remember that. So I was telling you guys about how the condensation forms the clouds, and then when enough of it happens, we get our precipitation. And I'm going to show you a demonstration of what that kind of looks like. So our shaving cream here, this is our cloud. Nice little puffy cloud in our glass there. And this dropper, this blue water, this is going to be our condensation. And it's going to go into our cloud. Little bit at a time. Probably going to have to use another dropper. Something's going to happen. Eventually. I made a cloud too thick. Let's thin it out. There we go. See? We finally got enough condensation in our cloud. And now we have our precipitation. Our blue water is falling down out of our cloud. I want to get enough in there where it really goes, but it's not wanting to cooperate. It's fine. So that gives you a little bit of an idea how the condensation happens and then causes the precipitation. So the next thing I want you to do, I'm giving you all a worksheet, paper plate, one of these little doodads. All right, you should have glue, scissors, your crayons. I want you to cut out the circle part of this worksheet. And then I want you to cut out this pointer down here on the bottom. All right, once you got those cut out, take your glue. Remember when we use glue, we don't need a lot, we don't need a ton of glue on there, just a little bit on the back of your circle here. And you're going to glue it down in the middle of your plate. There's a black dot on your plate, and there's a black dot on your paper. They should line up. It doesn't have to be perfect. When you're done gluing it down, it should look about like that. Then you're going to take your pointer and your doodad. Where'd my doodad go? There it is. And you're going to poke your doodad through the little black dot on your pointer. Then you're going to take your pointer with the arrow facing up, just like these arrows right here on your plate, and you're going to poke it through the black dot in the middle of your plate, and you're going to bend the little legs on the back flat. Okay? And so what you've made now is you have this arrow that can turn all the way. I made my legs too tight. Hang on. You guys might have to do this too. But it'll turn all the way through. Oh, there we go. All the way through all your stages of the water cycle. So what I want you guys to do, is to take your plate, and in each of these boxes, I want you to label each of the 4 main processes of the water cycle. I'll be coming around to check to make sure that you're labeling them correctly. And when you're done, you can go ahead and color your water cycle picture. Okay? Alright. Now that everybody's had time to color your water, to label and color your water cycle picture, if you didn't get done coloring it, don't worry about it, it's fine. These are for you guys to keep so you can finish coloring them later. You take these home, have fun with them. The next thing I want you to take a look at is I'm giving you one other worksheet, okay? And it's just asking you, where have you seen the water cycle in your day-to-day life? You know, like we talked about puddles. That's one place where we saw the water cycle. These are some questions that are asking you where you've seen the other portions of the water cycle, like, you know, where have you seen evaporation? Where have you seen condensation? What things other than rain could be precipitation? You know, what are some of the places that water collects? We talked about a lot of those. See if you guys can come up with some different ones for me. Make sure that you're using complete sentences. Make sure that you're using good punctuation, because I'm also going to be looking at that. It's something I want to see. And you guys fill these out. I'll take them up here when everybody's had time to complete them.